Level 1. The first trigger. It starts with the breath you can't steady. Your finger rests on the trigger, but it doesn't move. Not yet. Through the scope, a man walks into frame, unaware, unguarded, human. He scratches his beard, adjusts his vest. He looks normal. Your spotter whispers, "Take it." You hesitate. Not because you don't know how, because you understand what happens next. Once you pull it, you don't go back. Your training didn't prepare you for this moment. Not really. They showed you targets, paper silhouettes, steel plates. They never showed you this, the pause before a life disappears because you decided it should. Take the shot. Your breath tightens. You remember the rule. Inhale, exhale, pause. You exhale, you pause, you pull. The recoil is small. The sound is swallowed by distance. Through the scope, the man drops. Just like that. No drama, no speech, no last words. Just gravity. You don't feel anything at first. Just a strange silence inside your chest, like something turned off. Your spotter taps your shoulder. Good hit. That's it. No ceremony, no acknowledgement of what you just did. Because here, it's not about what you feel, it's about whether you can do it again. Level 1 is simple. You follow orders, you don't ask why, you don't look too long through the scope after the shot, and you don't talk about the first one. Because everyone knows, it never really leaves you.
Level 2. The quiet professional. You stop counting after the 5th. Not officially. No one asks for numbers. But you keep track anyway. 5 becomes 10. 10 becomes something else. The faces blur. The distances don't. You learn that distance is safety. At 800 meters, they're shapes. At 1200, they're patterns. At 300, they're people. So you prefer the long shots. Level 2 teaches you control, not just your breathing, your thoughts. You stop flinching when the shot lands. You stop waiting for a reaction. You already know the outcome before you pull the trigger. You start noticing things others don't. How wind shifts just before sunrise. How heat distorts movement at noon. How a man about to die always pauses for half a second longer than necessary. You don't know why, but you see it every time. Your spotter trusts you now, doesn't repeat commands, doesn't double-check your adjustments. You become efficient, clean, predictable. That's what they want. Because predictable snipers don't make mistakes. You still follow orders, but now you understand the system a little more. Targets aren't random. They're selected, calculated, removed. You're not just pulling a trigger. You're part of something organized, something precise. And the better you get, the less they need to explain. That's when you realize silence isn't just discipline, it's currency. Level 3. The ghost in the terrain. They stop pairing you with the same spotter. Now you rotate. Different teams, different terrains, different missions. You adapt. Urban rooftops, desert ridgelines, dense tree lines where visibility drops to nothing. You learn to disappear. Not just physically, mentally. You stop thinking like a soldier. You start thinking like the environment. Where would you hide if you were the wind? Where would you move if you were hunted? You don't rush anymore. You wait. Hours, sometimes days. Still, silent, watching. You eat less, drink less, move only when necessary. Your body becomes secondary. Discomfort becomes normal. What matters is the shot. You start taking assignments that don't have clear extraction windows. You stay longer, deeper, closer to the edge. That's where mistakes happen, but you don't make them. Not anymore. You've learned the unwritten rule. The longer you stay unseen, the more valuable you become. Your name doesn't travel, your results do. Whispers in briefings. Use him. He gets it done. You're not a person in this system. You're a solution. And solutions don't get emotional. They get used.
Level 4. The controlled asset. You don't wait for orders the same way anymore. They start asking for your input. Best angle? Best time? Cleanest shot? You answer without hesitation because you've seen enough to know. Level 4 is where skill becomes authority. You're still taking shots, but now you influence how and when they happen. You study targets before missions, patterns, habits, weaknesses. You know when they wake up, when they smoke, when they check their phones. You don't just eliminate them, you predict them. And prediction feels like control. That's the dangerous part. You start believing you're not just following the system, you're shaping it. You take a shot once that isn't strictly ordered. The opportunity presents itself. You take it. It works. Clean, efficient, no complications. No one questions it. They just nod. Good call. That's all it takes. Now you know the boundary. And more importantly, how far you can push it.
Level 5. The invisible hand. You stop going on every mission. Now you choose, or at least it feels like you do. Assignments come to you first. High-value targets, sensitive operations, things that don't go on official reports. You start seeing the bigger picture. This isn't just combat, it's influence. Remove one person, and something shifts. A route opens, a deal collapses, a message gets sent. You're no longer thinking about the shot. You're thinking about the consequence of the shot. That's when it changes. You begin to feel detached, not from the act, from the meaning, because meaning is assigned after the fact. You're just the mechanism, but a powerful one. You hear things now. Rumors, stories about a sniper no one sees. No name, no face, just outcomes. You don't confirm, you don't deny, because reputation grows best in silence. You understand another rule now. Fear travels faster than truth, and you're becoming something people fear, even the ones who give the orders.
Level 6. The architect of distance. You rarely pull the trigger anymore. Others do. Snipers trained under your methods, your standards, your mindset. You review their shots, correct their mistakes, approve their targets. Level 6 isn't about execution, it's about design. You build operations. You decide positioning, timing, contingencies. You see everything from above, not physically, strategically. You understand how one shot connects to 10 others, how one failure unravels an entire operation. You become cautious, not because you're afraid, because you understand the cost. Mistakes now aren't personal, they're systemic, and systems don't forgive. You start distancing yourself from the field, from the people, from the noise, because clarity requires separation, but separation comes with a price. You don't feel the same way anymore about anything, not the shots, not the outcomes, not even the victories. Everything becomes procedural, and that scares you more than anything else.
Level 7. The untouchable variable. No one tells you what to do anymore. They ask, carefully, respectfully, because your decisions carry weight, not just operationally, politically. You exist in a space above the system, but still bound by it.
That's the illusion. You have access now, information others don't see, operations that never get recorded, targets that don't officially exist. You realize something important. The system isn't clean, it's controlled chaos, and you're one of the few who can navigate it. You make decisions that no one questions because no one fully understands them. You justify them to yourself. That's enough. But the isolation deepens. You don't trust easily. You don't connect. You don't explain. Because the higher you go, the fewer people can follow your thinking, and the fewer people you can trust with it. You become necessary, but never comfortable.
Level 8. The final silence. You don't take assignments anymore. You create them, or stop them, before they even exist. Your presence is indirect now, felt, not seen. You operate through layers, people who report to you. No one reaches you directly. That's intentional, because at this level, exposure is vulnerability, and you've spent years eliminating vulnerabilities. You think less about targets, more about outcomes, more about stability, or the illusion of it. You sit in rooms where decisions reshape entire regions, and no one mentions the shots. But you know they're implied. Always. You don't feel powerful. You feel removed. From the field, from the purpose, from the person you used to be. You remember the first shot. Not clearly, but enough. Enough to know something changed that day. And everything since has been a continuation of that moment. You wonder if it was ever a choice, or just the first step in something inevitable. You don't regret it. You don't celebrate it. You just accept it, because acceptance is the only thing left. Somewhere, a new recruit lies prone behind a rifle. His breath isn't steady. His finger hesitates on the trigger. He sees a man through the scope, and for a second, he still sees a person. You know what happens next. He thinks he understands the weight of it. He doesn't, but he will.